The warning from Earth. The observation deck of the Imperial flagship Dominator offered a panoramic view of the swirling nebula that marked the edge of Vexarian space. Commander Therex stood with his hands clasped behind his back, six eyes scanning the stars with the calculated precision of a predator. 300 cycles of Vexarian conquest had expanded their domain across 17% of the galaxy, and no species had successfully resisted their technological superiority. "Commander," said Lieutenant Vex, approaching with a data tablet, "scouts have discovered an inhabited planet in Sector 9 Lambda. Initial scans indicate a primitive civilization, technology level 4, possibly early level 5. Therax's outer eyes narrowed while his central pair remained fixed on the distant stars. "Show me." The holographic display hummed to life, revealing a blue-green sphere wrapped in wispy white clouds. "They call it Earth," Vex continued. "The dominant species appears to be bipedal mammals. No significant space presence beyond their immediate planetary system. Minimal orbital defenses. They've only achieved rudimentary interplanetary travel." "Assessment?" Therax asked. "Standard acquisition. No special preparations required. Their resources would be valuable, particularly their water reserves and biological diversity. The planet could support 3 major processing facilities." Therax nodded. The Vexarian Empire had conquered hundreds of worlds like this one. Some surrendered immediately upon seeing the Imperial fleet. Others fought briefly before being overwhelmed. The outcome was always the same. "Send scout ship Alpha 7 to conduct a closer assessment." Standard protocol. 3 solar cycles later, Alpha 7 approached Earth's outer atmosphere. Captain Zurex commanded the sleek, predatory vessel as it remained cloaked, invisible to the primitive tracking systems the humans employed. His crew consisted of 12 of the Empire's finest scouts, veterans of dozens of planetary acquisitions. "Curious," said the sensor officer. "Their satellite network is extensive but technologically inconsistent. Some components appear far more advanced than others. Backward species often purchase or steal technology they don't understand." Zurex replied dismissively. "Maintain position and continue scanning." Without warning, their communications array crackled to life. A signal directed precisely at their cloaked vessel. "Impossible." A human voice spoke, the translation matrix converting it to perfect Vexarian. "Unidentified vessel. This is Earth orbital defense. You have entered restricted space. Your cloaking technology has been identified and tracked. Leave. Now." Stunned silence filled the bridge. Captain Zurex recovered first, mandibles clicking with amusement. "They're bluffing," he said. "No level 4 civilization could detect our presence." He turned to his communications officer. "Respond with standard Imperial greeting protocol." The officer transmitted the automated message that had heralded the fall of countless civilizations. "Attention, primitive world. You have been selected for integration into the Vexarian Empire. Resistance is historically futile and will result in increased casualties among your population. Prepare for arrival of the acquisition fleet." The response was immediate. "We have studied your empire's history. We know your methods. This is your final warning. Leave our space or be destroyed." Laughter rippled across the bridge. The arrogance of these primitives was entertaining, if nothing else. "Return to the fleet," Zurex ordered. "The Emperor will enjoy hearing about these creatures' misplaced confidence before they join our labor camps." When the scout ship rejoined the fleet, Commander Therex received their report with growing interest. "They detected your cloaked vessel. Interesting. Perhaps they deserve a more thorough introduction to Imperial power." Within days, Therax had assembled the first wave of the invasion force. 50 warships, including 10 planet crackers capable of devastating entire continents. It was excessive for a level 4 civilization, but Therax believed in making examples of the defiant. As the Vexarian fleet approached Earth, Admiral Krell, Therax's second-in-command, voiced the thought that many harbored but few dared express. "Commander, isn't this response somewhat disproportionate for such a minor acquisition?" Therax's mandibles twitched in irritation. This isn't about acquisition anymore, Admiral. It's about ensuring that every species in this sector understands the consequences of defiance. We will make an example of Earth. The fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel near Mars, Earth's neighboring planet. From here, they would launch their attack, overwhelming Earth's defenses before the primitives could even comprehend what was happening. A communication request from Earth came immediately upon their arrival. Therax allowed it, curious what these doomed creatures might say. A single human appeared on screen, dressed in a simple gray uniform with no ornamentation. Nothing about the figure suggested military authority or political power. Vexarian fleet, you were warned. We have no desire for conflict, but we will defend ourselves. Turn back now. Therax leaned forward, studying the human with all 6 eyes. You speak boldly for a species about to be conquered. I am Commander Therax of the Vexarian Empire. Your planet's resources now belong to us. Your people will serve. This is the natural order of the galaxy. The human's expression didn't change. We have studied your natural order. We disagree with it fundamentally. This is your final opportunity to retreat. Therax cut the transmission with a dismissive gesture. Launch the first wave. 20 warships surged forward, weapons primed. Earth appeared peaceful, vulnerable. A blue jewel hanging in the void, seemingly unprotected aside from its primitive satellite network. No defense grid detected, reported the tactical officer. No energy shields, no weapons platforms. This will be over quickly. The first ship entered Earth's upper atmosphere and vanished in a blinding flash of light. Confusion erupted on the command deck. What happened? Therax demanded. Before anyone could answer, a second ship exploded, then a third. Sensors scrambled, unable to detect the source of the attacks. Energy signatures unlike anything in our database, shouted the science officer. They're coming from everywhere. The tactical display showed chaos as the Vexarian formation broke apart, ships desperately trying to retreat or find the source of the attack. One by one, they were destroyed by weapons that left no trace until the moment of impact. Impossible, whispered Admiral Krell. They're only level 4. They can't have this technology. Half the first wave was gone in less than 3 minutes. The remaining ships were in full retreat, their hulls scarred by near misses from the invisible weapons. A new transmission came through, and this time Therax didn't have the option to refuse it. The same human appeared, expression unchanged. This demonstration represents less than 2% of Earth's defensive capability. We have studied your civilization for decades. We know your weaknesses. We know your tactics. We chose isolation, not out of fear but preference. Your invasion has forced our hand. The transmission ended. In its place came a detailed technical schematic, the complete blueprint of the Dominator's propulsion system, with critical weaknesses highlighted. Therax stared at the display, mandibles twitching in the Vexarian expression of absolute shock. How could they? Commander, interrupted the tactical officer, voice shaking. We're detecting hundreds of small objects approaching at high velocity. They've penetrated our outer defenses already. Impossible. Raise all shields. Launch countermeasures. But it was too late. The objects, no larger than a human hand, attached themselves to the hulls of the remaining Vexarian ships. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, one by one, the mighty warships of the Vexarian fleet went dark, their systems completely disabled. The Dominator trembled as its engines shut down. Emergency lighting flickered on as the main power grid failed. Panic spread across the command deck as the mighty flagship drifted helplessly in space. Status report, Therax demanded. All systems compromised, Commander. We have life support and minimal communications only. Weapons, engines, shields, all offline. A final message came through. Your ships will be towed to the edge of our solar system. You have enough life support to reach your nearest outpost if you leave immediately. Do not return to Earth. Next time, We won't be as merciful." In the stunned silence that followed, Admiral Krell approached Thorax. "Commander, what do we do?" For the first time in his long military career, Commander Thorax of the mighty Vexarian Empire had no answer. The Reckoning. The Imperial Palace on Vexar Prime glittered under three suns, its crystalline spires designed to reflect the Empire's might across the planet's surface. Inside the Grand Strategy Chamber, Emperor Vorex VI raged, his massive form towering over the assembled military command. "Explain how 50 of our finest warships were defeated by a primitive world that hasn't even colonized its own moon," he roared, all six eyes blazing with fury. Commander Thorax stood rigidly at attention, knowing his life hung by a thread. "Emperor, with respect, Earth is not what it appears. They possess technology far beyond level 4, possibly exceeding our own in certain domains. Their defensive capabilities—" "I don't want excuses," interrupted the Emperor. "I want Earth broken and its people in chains. Whatever technology they possess will soon belong to the Empire." Grand Strategist Kelvar, ancient even by Vexarian standards, stepped forward. "My Emperor, if I may, there is something unusual about this situation. Our intelligence indicates that Earth has maintained a deliberately limited presence in space. They have the capability for extensive colonization, but have chosen isolation instead." "Cowardice," spat the Emperor. "Or strategy," countered Kelvar. "I believe we should investigate further before committing more resources." Emperor Vorex slammed his massive fist on the strategy table. "The longer we wait, the more time they have to prepare. I will not have it said that a single planet defied the Vexarian Empire. Prepare the Annihilation Fleet. We will reduce Earth to ash." 2 cycles later, the largest Vexarian fleet assembled in a generation emerged near Jupiter, maintaining a safe distance from Earth. 300 warships, including the dreaded planet killer Extinction, formed a vast armada capable of reducing entire star systems to rubble. Admiral Zenthar, the Empire's most decorated military commander, led the fleet personally. Unlike Commander Thorax, he would not underestimate these humans. "All ships maintain position," he ordered. "Full sensor sweep. I want to know what we're facing before we advance." The sensors revealed nothing unusual. The same primitive satellite network. The same absence of visible defenses. "Admiral," reported his communications officer, "we're receiving a transmission. It's being broadcast throughout the galaxy on all frequencies." "Show me," Zenthar ordered. A different human appeared on screen. Older, female, with an air of quiet authority. "To all civilizations receiving this message. For centuries, humanity has observed the galaxy while concealing our true capabilities. We have watched empires rise and fall. We have witnessed the exploitation of countless species. We chose isolation to avoid the endless cycles of conquest and destruction that plague galactic society." The image changed to show historical footage of human civilization. Not the primitive technology the Vexarians had expected, but advanced cities, incredible engineering achievements, and technology that rivaled or exceeded the Empire's best. 500 years ago, humanity detected the first signals from beyond our solar system. We learned that the galaxy was filled with life, and filled with conflict. Rather than revealing ourselves, we chose to watch and learn. We built our civilization inward rather than outward, developing technologies that would allow us to defend ourselves when eventually discovered. The broadcast showed Earth's true defense network, thousands of satellites with advanced cloaking technology, automated defense platforms hidden throughout the solar system, and energy weapons of devastating power, all concealed from casual observation. We have no interest in conquest. We have no desire for empire. We wish only to be left in peace, but make no mistake, we will defend ourselves with all necessary force. Admiral Zenthar watched the broadcast with growing unease. It was being transmitted across the entire galaxy, to every civilization, every outpost, every ship. The Vexarian Empire's humiliating defeat was being announced to all. "This is a trick," said his second-in-command. Psychological warfare. No, Zenthar replied quietly. This explains everything. They let us see what they wanted us to see. The human continued. To the Vexarian Empire, your invasion force has violated our sovereignty. We have studied your civilization extensively and understand your military doctrine. We know you cannot allow this challenge to go unanswered. We regret what must follow. The transmission ended. In the silence that followed, Admiral Zenthar made his decision. Advance at half speed. Maximum shields. All weapons ready. The Vexarian Armada moved toward Earth in perfect formation, weapons primed for devastation, unlike anything seen in generations. This time, they were prepared for the invisible attacks. But the attack, when it came, was nothing like before. From seemingly empty space, thousands of small craft suddenly appeared, swarming around the Vexarian ships like insects. Each no larger than a shuttle, they moved with impossible speed and precision. Evasive maneuvers, Zenthar ordered, but the human vessels anticipated every move, staying just beyond weapons range, while herding the Vexarian ships into increasingly disadvantageous positions. They're not attacking, reported the tactical officer, confusion evident in his voice. They're containing us. Suddenly, a massive energy signature appeared behind the fleet. A spatial distortion formed, stretching reality itself. What is that? Demanded Zenthar. The science officer's voice shook. It appears to be a controlled gravitational anomaly. Admiral, they've created an artificial gravity well. The Vexarian ships at the rear of the formation were the first to feel its effects, pulled inexorably backward despite their engines training at full power. One by one, they were dragged into the swirling vortex, not destroyed but removed from the battlefield entirely. Where are they going? Zenthar asked, watching helplessly as his fleet was systematically dismantled. The gravitational signatures suggest another part of space. They're being transported, not destroyed. The human swarm continued its dance, never firing a shot, simply guiding the increasingly desperate Vexarian ships toward the anomaly. It was like watching master strategists playing against children. Every Vexarian tactic countered before it was even fully implemented. On the bridge of the planet killer extinction, Admiral Zenthar made his final decision. Target Earth directly. Full power to the planet killer beam. If we're going to fall, we'll take them with us. The massive weapon began to charge, its power core glowing with malevolent energy. One shot could crack a planet's crust, rendering it uninhabitable for generations. As the weapon reached full charge, a single human vessel broke formation and approached the extinction. It was tiny compared to the massive Vexarian flagship, seemingly no threat. Ignore it, Zenthar ordered. Fire the main weapon. But as the planet killer beam prepared to discharge, the human vessel emitted a narrow energy beam of its own, precisely targeting the extinction's main weapon. There was no explosion, no obvious damage, but the weapon's energy reading suddenly flatlined. What happened? Zenthar demanded. They've neutralized the reaction cascade somehow. The weapon is useless. A new transmission came through, this time directly to Zenthar's command deck. The same human female from the galactic broadcast appeared. Admiral Zenthar, your fleet is defeated. 200 of your ships have been relocated to the far side of the Andromeda galaxy. Their crews are unharmed, but face a long journey home. The remainder of your fleet is surrounded. You have two options: surrender or be similarly relocated. Zenthar, a veteran of 100 campaigns, recognized the complete defeat that faced him. And if we surrender, you will be permitted to return to Vexar Prime with a message for your emperor. Earth is off-limits to the Vexarian Empire. Additionally, the 73 worlds you have conquered in the past 50 cycles are now under humanity's protection. You will withdraw your forces from these planets immediately. The Emperor will never agree to such terms, Zenthar said. The human's expression remained impassive. Then the Vexarian Empire will find itself fighting a war it cannot win against an enemy it cannot see. We have watched your civilization for centuries. We know every weakness, every vulnerability, every fault line in your society. We do not wish to destroy you, but we will if forced." 3 months later, Emperor Vorax VI received Admiral Zenthar in the imperial throne room. The once proud military leader approached slowly, his posture reflecting the weight of his defeat. "The humans have established contact with the liberated worlds," Zenthar reported. "They're providing technological assistance, medical aid, and defensive capabilities. 23 other subjugated species have requested similar protection." "And their demands?" the Emperor asked, his voice hollow. "Unchanged. We withdraw to our original boundaries. We end all conquest operations. We transition to a peaceful civilization or face consequences." Grand Strategist Kelvar, who had witnessed the rise and fall of 2 emperors before Vorax, stepped forward. "My Emperor, I have studied the data exhaustively. The humans could have destroyed us, but chose restraint. They have technology we cannot comprehend and strategic capabilities that far exceed our own. This is not a battle we can win." Emperor Vorax, last in a line of conquerors that stretched back thousands of years, stared out at the 3 sons of Vexor Prime. For the first time, he contemplated a future where the Vexarian Empire would not dominate the stars. A future where humanity's warning of run would echo through history as the moment everything changed. "Send our acceptance of their terms," he said finally, "and prepare our people for a new age. The era of Vexarian conquest has ended." In Earth's orbital command center, General Sophia Chen received the Vexarian transmission with quiet satisfaction. Beside her stood Dr. Elijah Okonkwo, the architect of humanity's defensive strategy. "They've accepted," she said, "just as you predicted." Elijah nodded thoughtfully. Conquest was always their weakness. They never understood the power of restraint. "And now?" Sophia asked. "Now humanity steps onto the galactic stage, not as conquerors, but as protectors. The stars have waited long enough for a different path." Together, they looked out at the stars, no longer a place of hidden observation, but a frontier of new possibilities guided by humanity's fundamental belief that power came with responsibility, and that the strongest civilizations were those that lifted others rather than conquered them. The warning that had begun this conflict, "Run," had transformed into something else entirely, a promise of a new beginning for countless civilizations across the stars.